an interesting substance. And I think, like everything in veterinary medicine, or actually even in human medicine, we hop from one thing, the next best thing, to the next thing, and we often don't actually think about how medicines and drugs work and are they actually relevant to our patients. So if you look at a drug like Tramadol, it's essentially an opioid type drug, but it's also what we would call a prodrug. So the metabolite of the drug, or what they call the M1 metabolite, is the most active form of the drug, which then binds to opioid receptors in the body. And that's how the drug works. The advantage to Tramadol as well is it affects a number of other pain pathways. So, for example, it affects the monoaminergic pathways, as well as noradrenaline and serotonin as well, which gives it a lot of additional effects in pain. And so the theory behind the drug is actually very, very good, because it's going to bind to opioid receptors, and it's going to bind to some of the other, what I always call the non-conventional pain pathways. If we think about non-steroidals, for example, the inflammatory pathway is a conventional pathway. This has some of the other, or the alternative pathways in pain, which gives it extra spectrum of activity for us in chronically painful patients. So if we're looking at chronic pain, that is a tremendous benefit for us in using a drug like this. And of course, on the basis of theory, that sounds awfully wonderful.
Yeah.
And so you start to look through the literature, and you realize we've given this drug intravenously in a number of studies. And in those intravenous studies, we found reasonable clinical effect, if I can call it that. In other words, we've given it, we've got analgesia for those patients, which is really, really great.
Yeah.
But when you give it orally, things change suddenly.
Yeah.
Suddenly, this drug's not as well absorbed from your GIT tract. And of course, it needs to be metabolized to the active metabolite. And when they measure those serum concentrations, they're actually quite low, especially in a number of dogs. And this starts to bring out that thing that, does it work or